The Box Seat, brought to you by our stable of sponsors. Box Seat time it is again. A big thank you to our stable of sponsors. Michael, we go from one carnival to another carnival. Of course, Addington with their big Grand Prix meeting Sunday week. But it's also Inter-Dominion time. There's a lot to get through in this show.
There is, Greg. Big hi to you and to everybody watching around Australasia. I know we have lots of Australian viewers. Great to have the Inters back and great to have Swayze going to the Inters to take on Leap to Fame and a few others. We'll get to that later on. But Greg, of course, a big news week, and I'm talking hard news. Over the last 24 hours, we've seen the emergence of news around Operation Inca, which has been a very long, slow, and some would say unsuccessful burn, and also news around the Trot Slot race, which is a lot more positive, although both things will be positive in their own ways, with news that is going to be a real thing in our lives. So, yes, a busy time in harness racing, this time, Greg, off the track.
All right, let's see what you can look forward to on your box seat this week. We will update you on the Cambridge Trot Slot, brought to you by the TAB. Operation Inca, where's it at? Article in the New Zealand Herald today, so you get a chance to read that, but also hear about it here on your box seat. It's a big night at Addington on Friday night, the precursor to the big Grand Prix meeting. Breeders' Crown will wrap that up. Look forward to the Inter-Dominion, and it's Green Mile week for both the Pacers and Trotters on Sunday at the Mount Harding. So, a heck of a lot to get through. Let's start with the TAB Trot Slot.
The Queen of Aussie Trotting is coming back home.
Queen Elida's going to spank them.
TAB has secured star trotting mare Queen Elida for the brand new TAB Trot Slot race.
That's the Queen. Queen Elida takes it out.
Trained by Kiwi Brent Lilly, she'll bring plenty to this exciting new race.
The Queen is in the castle tonight.
Yes, the Queen is back for New Zealand's richest harness meeting, April 12 at Cambridge, the Night of Champions.
Call on like Donkey Kong.
So enormous news there around the TAB Trot Slot. So for more about that, then we'll get comment from Michael Guerin. I caught up with David Branch to nail everything you need to know. Well, David, it's been a little while in the making, but I know how delighted you are to confirm that you've got a Trot Slot race to go with your Night of Champions race by grins.
Yeah, you're right. It has been a bit of a process. Probably took a bit longer than I was expecting, but the most important thing is we've got it going in year one, so we can get that out of the way and then look to build on it in years 2, 3, 4, and 5.
That's the major difference too. Well, there's a couple actually, but the initial race by grins was a 3-year contract, but you're willing to take the risk on 1 year and show the people how it can work and just go from there?
Yeah, obviously not ideal. Probably the 3-year. There's a reason that these things have a 3-year deal, but yeah, I guess the key was if we get year one get year one underway, and then it'll actually align with the renewal of the race by grins, so we'll be able to actually break that down, set them both off again for the next cycle, and so it kind of works in that sense. But yeah, I guess the key was, as I said, just getting it off the ground in the first year.
All right, so you've got 8 confirmed, so therefore we have 8 runners. That means there's only a front line?
Yeah, for sure. So just the front line of 8. Same conditions as the race by grins, so the mares will draw inside the older horses.
Yep, all right, so we'll get to that in a moment because there's been a significant announcement around that too, but tell me the 8 that have taken the slots.
Yeah, so TAB, obviously they've come on board to get the race off the ground, and it's their funding that's allowed us to do that with Entane. We've got Cullen Breeding, Aldebaran Park, Strike One Racing, Hidden Honey, who have been a supporter of the race by grins as well, Yabby Dam Farms, All Stars Racing and Chris Ryder, and the Taylor Street Club Racing Syndicate.
All right, tell me about the last one, because you put together a syndicate of horses for that as well, so you've dovetailed a slot in the Trot Slot race with that.
Yeah, so as a club, we set out to support 3 of our local trainers, and we've leased yearling horses off Woodlands and Brecon Farms. So one of those horses with Anna Donnelly, one with Nikki Chilcott, and one with Tim Hall that are all trained on the track here. We've just got the syndicate set up, so all the information's on our website, but we've actually, as well as, so it's one syndicate for all 3 horses. We've also added a trot slot in for the first year. So you can be part of the 3 horses that are on racing leases and also have a share in the first running of the trot slot.
All right, very exciting that is, as is the news that one slot holder has already secured a runner. Smart move too by Entain TAB. The Queen's coming home, as we saw in the promo.
Yeah, so exciting and exactly what we want to kick the race off. As I said before, that we couldn't have done this without Entain and the TAB, so it's fitting that they've hit the ground running, done a deal and the promotional start leading into the Inter-Dominions, and I believe she's going to be racing in the Entain Ladbrokes colours over there. So that kicks things off, kicks the race off, and gets people talking about it, which is what it's all about.
All right, so we have one heck of a race night on the 12th of April. You've now made the Night of Champions an even greater occasion and the richest race night of the year.
Yeah, and that's always the plan. I guess building on years 1 and 2, it's great to hit this milestone, but we're already thinking further in the future as well. So we'll obviously can't wait till April 12th next year, but also looking to see where this night can go in future years too.
All right, you got Mitch James there last year. I'm not asking you who you've got this year, but I'm sure all of that stuff is going to start to come out, and the best place to go is the Cambridge Raceway website, and obviously we'll keep them updated here on the box seat.
Yeah, for sure. Still working on what the entertainment will look like. One thing's for sure, we'll be having the party on the track after the last race, because that was pretty
hugely successful, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, but obviously a lot of learnings whenever you do these things. We've got taken a lot of feedback on board from last year, and we'll be implementing that. And yeah, it's going to be one heck of a night, that's for sure.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. Hey, congratulations, Dave. I know there's been some sleepless nights getting this off the ground, making sure that it's going to work. I think you've taken a pretty honest and really smart way of going about it, just making sure you've got the 8, you secure it for a year, you show people what you can do, and then hopefully it'll sell itself.
Yeah, that's the plan, and obviously great to have the 8 slot holders backing it. A lot of them have been quite patient, the ones that came in right from the start. So thanks to them, they just, as much as we wanted to see it happen, they did too. So to have them backing it from the start sets us up pretty well for next year and into the future.
Michael, it's not overstating it. These 2 races would not have been possible without Dave Branch and his commitment. It was a battle in many ways to get the trot slot done, but he's got 8 confirmed, and well, we can really look forward to that Night of Champions now, the richest race night on our calendar.
It'll be massive, Greg. The race by grins is now part of our life, and I hope it remains that way, and I agree. David made that happen with some support, but he was the driving force behind it. This one here, even more so, was him. Different setup, as you mentioned in the interview there, that this is mainly, it's almost a sweepstake race, really. The owners of many of these good horses are buying slots. Whether that's sustainable heading forward, I don't know. But I know it's going to make for a hell of a race, 575,000, Greg, on April the 12th. I know it's something we can look forward to. I know the money's not coming out of my pocket or anybody else at home's pocket, unless they've got a slot and a horse. I think it's tremendous, Greg. And when you look at the possibilities for the slot trot race, the pacing ones are almost endless. But for the trot slot, Queen Elida, we just saw there from the TAB, and well done to the TAB. Let's not forget, back when the TAB Entain weren't the TAB Entain, they still supported this race, Greg. They supported the race by grins when they were called something else. That deserves a big tick. As for the Trotters, well, Queen Elida's coming back. Well done to Tony Barron and his connections with her. She'll draw barrier 1. That'll be fantastic. Then Oscar Bonavina's team have taken a slot. So has Bolt for Brilliance's team, and so is Muscle Mountain. So that's a hell of a race. Then the big ticket item, Greg, is Just Believe. He's heading to the Inter-Dominions as the favourite. I wouldn't take him back to Sweden. Absolutely not. I wouldn't. You've done that. He's not going to win a major race in Sweden. He absolutely can win this race. And Jess Tubbs and Greg Sugars have the option to bring Better Eclipse across, Greg, for the pacing race, where he performed well last year. So I'll be using that 1-2 punch and bringing him across. If you get those 5 in a race, Greg, that is sexy as all hell. Then you say to yourself, where do I find the others? Maybe not as promised, who we're going to see on Grand Prix Day. Maybe a horse like Love Me Too comes through. Aldebaran Park have the slots, so I presume Aldebaran Zeus is going to be there, and he won at the meeting last year. The last 2 or 3 slots, or 2 slots probably, don't bother me too much because the big 6 are so big and so good, Greg. The richest trotting race, I believe, ever held in Australasia. It's the richest proper race. There might have been a sales race a long time ago worth about this much, but the richest previous race is a $500,000 Inter-Dominion trotting final won by Lyle Creek. I think it's great, Greg. And yes, there'll be some people who go, well, it's not, you know, where's this money coming from, and is it people from the industry and all that sort of stuff, but it doesn't matter. Anytime you have a horse race, people, owners, trainers have put a stack of money in and then they race. That's what this is. I hope it's sustainable. I hope it's fantastic. I think it's going to be. And I'm pretty excited to see Queen Elida having a spot, Greg. How do you feel about it now you know what it's going to look like?
Oh, I totally agree with you. I think it's magnificent. It's only going to add to that night, and I think the Trotters deserve their own slot race. Queen Elida's won 30 races. Just Believe's an outstanding horse. We get those two. It's almost a mini Inter-Dominion, isn't it? Particularly if we can get maybe a Leap to Fame, maybe a Swayze for the Race by Grins too.
Well, Greg, let's be honest. Let's not muck around here. It's better than the Inter-Dominion.
Yeah.
The Inter-Dominion's this week, and it's wonderful, and I hope everybody has a great time. But if you get one of the Leap to Fame Swayze crew, and I think you'll get one, you might get both. But the New Zealand horses, because none of them are going to the Inters, and then the Trot's going to be significantly stronger than the Inters. So this is going to be by far the biggest night of Trans-Tasman competition and the strongest night of the year. That's more than the New Zealand Cup, more than Hunter Cup night, and more than Miracle Mile night. From someone who goes to all of them, this will be the strongest harness racing meeting at the top level of the entire year. That is no small thing to pull off in the current environment, Greg.
No, particularly at the Cambridge track, and that's not belittling them at all, but that's a huge
and
deal.
It's in the heart of Gallop's country, Greg. It's a really good chance for, say, to galloping people, come along and look at the stuff. It's actually really good.
Yeah.
Come look at it. So I think it's great. It's good that the TAB's involved because they've got a far bigger content machine. So along with HRNZ and Cambridge and us and a whole lot of people can get involved and push these stories and make it and try and give people a chance to back a winner. So, yeah, I think it's great, Greg. Well done to everybody involved. I'm looking forward to seeing how it all unfolds, but more so than the Race by Grins, we sort of know 6 of the horses in the field unless something goes wrong. Those last 2 slots will be interesting though.
Yep, they definitely will be. You mentioned before it's a huge news week. Well, 62 and a half months ago, harness racing got on the front pages for the wrong reasons, Michael. Operation Inca was not even a thing when that came out. Now it's taken this long for all of the cases to be dropped. You've been all over this. Your article in the New Zealand Herald sums it up, but this has affected not only the code, but it's directly affected a number of participants, all of whom we're not even allowed to name because they still have suppression.
Well, let's stick to the facts.
Yep.
It's a very emotional case, and that's not going to get us anywhere because we could all tee off about who did what wrong, and we don't know all the facts. And most importantly, before you start this conversation, this isn't a war against the New Zealand police. That isn't going to end well for anybody. The police didn't get out of bed one morning and decide they want to shaft New Zealand harness racing. They took advice, which would seem now to have been the wrong advice, from an informant or somebody who told them there was corruption in harness racing. They have every right to open an investigation into that, which they did. That investigation lasted 17 months. It got to stages that the lawyers I've spoken to said were probably a bit unexpected. Bugging of cars, bugging of Airbnbs or hotel rooms, bugging of personal phone conversations and interception of text messages. But they're allowed to do that. That's the police's job. So let's not start bagging the police. Then you had very public arrest, which I think a lot of people found very confrontational and was splashed around a lot of the media, which a lot of people found very odd. And then a lot of people got caught in that net, and there was very public comment about the harness racing industry and some of those people. Now, of the 11 people arrested in September 2018, most have name suppression and they're going to apply for permanent name suppression. On November the 10th in the Christchurch District Court, the judge who's now in charge, because they've had 2 different judges in charge of hearing or not hearing some of these charges, stayed the last 2 charges against 2 horse people. So they've been stayed, which effectively means they've been dropped. I don't know enough about this, Greg, to talk openly without taking advice, so I've taken legal advice and spoken to King's counsels who represented 2 of the people involved. And they have said this is basically done. This is a done deal. This isn't coming back. This isn't something the police is going to reinvestigate. It's been too long. It's been stayed. The judge said enough. I'm paraphrasing here. I've also had contact with the Racing Integrity Board. I have had no indication from them. This is not official, but I've had no indication from them that they'll be looking to pursue this in the court of racing, for a better way to describe it. So I would suggest Operation Inca and charges in either the Crown Courts or in the Court of Racing is now as close to over as it can be. It's officially adjourned, Greg, but that's for the judge to give his written decision in February, if he gets the chance to do that. And then the question comes as to costs and whether the people who were accused, who have now been not charged or not found guilty of any crime, because there is, let's get this right, there's been no evidence and no suggestion from any judge there was any race fixing or corruption. None. There's nothing to be answered in that case. There are other cases for recreational drug use. There is also a case where someone who might have been under investigation was caught drugging a horse. That was separate to this investigation, and that person has been dealt with and lost their licence for a long time. So away from all that, the question now comes down to one of the horse people involved has told me they spent $400,000, more actually, but that's a round figure, on legal fees. So I spoke to a lawyer yesterday who's a King's counsel, and I said, do they have any potential to get those back? He said, under the Act, which goes back to 1967, you're not going to get that sort of money back. We hope to, we deserve to, but we don't think we can get it back. And then you start saying, Greg, well, for all these people who now have been proven to have done nothing wrong, to have spent all that money and the stress and the life stress and some of the dark thoughts that would have come with that, that's really confronting and really confrontational for people. I wasn't part of that. I wasn't part of that, but people who I would class as friends were, and I'm trying to talk as unemotionally as possible about their situations. But that's a horrendous thing to have undergone. And the police had the right to open that investigation. I think they were taking advice or informants with the wrong people. I've seen lots of the evidence, and I'm surprised it went on this long. And while it's not my place to make these calls, I do hope that the people who have been so harshly affected by this get adequate compensation, Greg. I'm trying to be careful with the words I use, because there's those cost hearings are still to happen, but that's the best way I could sum it up.
Yep, you also spoke to Harness Racing New Zealand, as I have. They actually haven't been given officially the details around the case being dropped, so to speak. Therefore, they're not really in a position to comment. Is that your summation of that?
I spoke to Maro Barsi, who's the Chief Operating Officer for HRNZ, because Gary is obviously sidelined at the moment. And he's a lawyer, so he's the right person to comment. And he said, look, we want to get all the information before we start making comment. But they will look to look after their own people, whether they need any other form of help, whether that's counselling or any other form of assistance. And then I think they're leaving the door open to question how this got so far. Yep. One of the most damaging things about it, Greg, wasn't the actual charges, because there was name suppression. It was the very, very public media flagellation of these people.
Yep.
Like, I work in the media, and I chose to go down a different path. I would hope that some people, and this is the second time this has happened in harness racing, we went through this in Blue Magic, and there was some really, really interesting reporting around that. Yeah, I think some people there, or some organisations there, should also have those questions asked by Harness Racing New Zealand about what they were trying to achieve.
All right, I think we've given that the airtime it deserves at this stage. There will be more to come of it, but thanks so much, Michael, for taking us through that and giving us an unbiased and a totally factual review at this point. We also chose not to bring this up during New Zealand Cup Week, didn't think it was appropriate, and therefore we've left it until now. But there'll be more to come out about Operation Inca. Time for us to move on though, because we have Addington Raceway Friday night. This is the race meeting that leads in to the Harness Grand Prix. It does have a Group 1, the second running of the Trotting Oaks. Let's go and have a look at one of the key lead-up races. Well, here's She's Bella, Michael, getting to the outside. This was on show day. Prince Tekka in front, dominating from the top end, but She's Bella was absolutely outstanding. Also in this race is Habibdi, the Ivy League rather, out of Habibdi Ivy, running into 4th position there, but She's Bella's already proven that she's clearly up to this level. She's come up a $4.50 second favourite. Favourite for it is the age group star in High Energy. Mel Zadell's in there. She's Group 1 place in the New South Wales Derby. It's a pretty deep crop, this, isn't it?
Well, it's later in the year, Greg, so effectively they're 4 a couple of years ago at the same time, this crop would have been. So therefore they feel better because this race would usually be held about April. I think She's Bella will start favourite. I think High Energy will have a lot of love because it's a Purdon horse, but yeah, I think She's Bella will start favourite. I think the Australians saw enough of her. She performed well. She won on Derby Day at Maryborough in a support race, and I think she's very good, Greg. I think High Energy could win, but I think She's Bella's a better bet for people who want to play along on Friday night for what's a real beauty of a race meeting, Greg. It's one of those race meetings where once you get into the good stuff, it's just a page turner.
Yep, it certainly is. High Energy's trialled recently. You can check that out at hrnz.co.nz. Mel Zadell, I mentioned, got early speed, as has She's Bella, and there's a couple of others on the second row, including Walking on Sunshine, who has come up around $7.50 and will have the services of Tony Herlihy. Just while we're on the trotting, Michael, Muscle Mountain goes to the trials on Wednesday before his defence of the New Zealand free-for-all with Livermore, which is also on Grand Prix days. Continue our trotting look. What about these mares that go head-to-head again? Here's Galway Girl winning on show day. She did it in very good style. When she gets things her own way, Michael, and is driven properly, which is what Craig Thornley said after this race, she can be very, very good.
She can be. I think the handicaps really favour the 2 back markers here. I mean, they're open class horses, Time Up the Hill and Resolve, and one of them just run 3rd in a Dominion. Whereas if Galway Girl was in the Dominion or any of the other girls in this race, do you really think they would have run 3rd? I don't think so. So while they have a slight handicap advantage, I don't think it counts for a great deal unless Galway Girl can work around the field, Greg, and get to the lead, which I don't know. There's only a couple off the front. But yeah, I do think genuine open class horses like Resolve and Time Up the Hill, who have been going really good races this spring, Greg, should beat these mares.
Yeah, they should. $3.50 the price for Resolve. Time Up the Hill, who's also in the Green Mile for the Trotters on Sunday. I think she's the defending champion there, or she's at least won one anyway. Maybe Oscar Bonavina's won one too. Is $5.50. I Dream of Jeannie with Mark Purdon back in the bite, $7. Galway Girl, $7.50. Muscle Bank, also $7.50, and then Miss Alyssa Euro Style. And the other one that's well in the market here, Michael, is Hidden Talent. She's an immense talent, trained by Nathan Williamson, $3.80. So it's a good race, but I do concur with you. Those 2 off 30, effectively off 20, with just those couple off the front, should take all sorts of beating. Continuing the look at the Trotters, because Empire City is the one we want to have a look at next. This was a terrific performance, Michael. Got caught up on the inside when Paramount Lady galloped early in this race, and she's been a subsequent winner. But Empire City really had to be good this day. Wilma's Boys in here, bolted in on debut, beating Empire City. The likes of Dreams Pat, who comes down from the Derek Ball stable. It's just going to be a good race, the Lone Star Sire Stakes for the 2-year-olds.
Well, it has the potential to be a good race, Greg. I'm not sure it will be a good race because half of them might gallop. I don't know. They're an odd bunch. I mean, Wilma's Boy was just dreadful last week at Rangiora. Mark and Nathan have a nice horse off the second line, but I don't trust it either. So I think this horse on screen, or just on screen, maybe picks itself, Greg. Really good at Ashburton. And you're right, it could be a really good race. If half them trot, I have no idea what to expect here, Greg. I'm not sure it's a race I'll be betting into, but it'll be entertaining.
Yeah, Tyron Eros was a winner on debut and was going to win. Absolute dead set going to win at Rangiora. Went through on the inside and decided to gallop behind Lucky Mum. And yeah, I thought that it's got a chance from barrier 1. But you're right, you just don't know what might happen there. Now, I keep talking about Grand Prix Day. The winner of our competition, Dennis Moore. Dennis, if you're watching, I need to hear from you because you and 3 friends, I know you're based in Auckland, need to get to Christchurch, and therefore I need to book you some airfares. You're our winner of the Entain TAB Commodore Addington Raceway race to get three friends and yourself along to Grand Prix Day. So I need to hear from you. Give me a ring. I've sent you a couple of emails. If we don't hear from you by the end of the week, we might be redrawing that. So yeah, get a hold of me, Dennis, and we can sort that out for you. The Ian Dobson Classic is on Friday night as well. Here's Don't Stop Dreaming winning the TAB Junior Free for All. Beating Sia, Art and Merlin. This is another one of those very good races we have Friday night, Michael, and courtesy of the preferential barrier draw, they come up with 8 and 9, as they did in this race. Wagstars there, Who's Delight, Franco Sinatra, Sooner the Better, Coney Island Lou, Charlie Brown, Jollymont. Not a bad lineup.
Good field. It is a derby trial of sorts, so it'll be interesting to see what tactics everybody employs, Greg, because there's a far bigger race in 2 weeks. What's interesting is when you watch this video and you consider their careers, Merlin's, in my mind, not going to come from behind this horse and beat him. I just can't see it happening, Greg. This horse is too good and too strong through the line. So at some stage, I think, not that I'm telling Zachary how to drive horses because he's pretty good at it, but at some stage they have to just say we're going to stay in front of you. Because if you keep letting him get in front of you, he's going to beat you every time. That's how I view it, Greg. I know there's lots of moving parts to that because there's some really good stayers in here like Wagstar and Who's Delight. So I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen at the start. But yeah, I think if this horse gets an even run, Don't Stop Dreaming, it beats every horse in the field. So someone like Merlin, if they want to beat him, is going to need to actually just beat him, Greg. Actually just get in front of him and say no.
Yeah, different race this week, of course, because that was 2600, 1980. So the Wagstars and the like, they're probably going to roll the dice here, aren't they? Because why wouldn't you try and stay in front of the big 2?
Well, they can. And if they don't, eventually at any stage of a horse's career, Greg, you get to the stage where somebody's not going to hand up to them or you're just going to keep handing up to them.
Yeah.
Because if you keep handing up to those good horses, they just beat you. So there's the Lyle Creeks and the Lazaruses of the world who it doesn't matter, they're just going to sit parked and beat you. But I don't think Don't Stop Dreaming's that horse. I don't think he's just going to sit parked and beat everybody. Yep. And I'm not saying they should just park him out for the fun of it. But yeah, I don't think he'll go forward this week anyway with quite the same volition as last time. But at some stage, somebody's got to say to you, enough's enough. And we saw that in some of his lead-up races. The problem is, he's probably fitter and going to continue getting fitter, Greg.
Yeah, absolutely. 10 days out from the Garrard's Derby on Grand Prix Day, but it's an excellent precursor, the Ian Dobson Memorial, and of course it would be appropriate if Don't Stop Dreaming was able to win. 3-year-old fillies get their chance in the Oaks next week. Looking forward to that, brought to you by Tennant Engineering, a new sponsor for that. But here she was winning the Neville, beating Mantra Blue. Michael, the pair go head-to-head again this week in a race named after one of the great fillies and mares and hilarious guest.
I think this is in some ways the most interesting race of the night because you look at that, you think Milwood Nike's just going to smash them, so why does it matter? But again, we get back to Zachary, who is a great horse person, and you say, does he say on Mantra Blue, not tonight? I'm going to go forward because we know she's got pretty good gate speed and lead and leave Milwood Nike out there when invariably, Greg, over this distance, they're going to come forward and sit parked on her, one would think. Because if you hand up to her, you're probably not going to beat her unless Zachary does what he did a couple of years ago with Bella Montana, hand up to Princess Tiffany and get her for speed in that last 100. So it's an interesting question. Are you happy to run second this week and are you happy to run second in the Oaks? Or do you make a stand somewhere? And in fact, do you want to make a stand this week and maybe get a headache for the Oaks. It's a really interesting situation. Both the Merlin situation and this one, in many ways, this one's the tougher of the two because Milwood Nike was so dominant last time, Greg. I'll put it to you. Mantra Blue leads here. I'm not saying it will, but if it does, and Milwood Nike sits parked outside her, does she just beat her?
She still beats her. Yep, I think so. She's very good, Mantra Blue, and there's a lot of things to like about her, and she's lightly tried compared to Milwood Nike, but she just seems to have her measure, albeit they've only clashed once. She really dominated that race, and I think she would again this week. I think Zach will have a go, though. He's not afraid of doing that, and she's still the second best in the country. Artie by the Seaside's in there. A couple of the others you'll want to go well, Michael, because what you don't want to see is next week's Oaks a field of 6 because they don't want to go around against these two fillies. Amora and Fidia from the inside, you want to see her perform. Kalua Flyby, Treacherous Gal, you'd love to see them go good races along with Artie by the Seaside. But I think Milwood Nike will just mooch around to parked, maybe by the winning post, maybe slightly later, and these two will go to war again, and I think Milwood Nike can continue on her winning way. How do you see it?
You're probably right. I don't see it not being the case, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Zach does try that Bella Montana drive from a couple of years ago at the Jewels when he slingshotted Princess Tiffany, but Milwood Nike's better than Princess Tiffany, and I'm not sure Mantra Blue's as good as Bella Montana yet. No,
I agree.
One thing I'd say about the Oaks is if you had a filly good enough, go round. If you can get a good barrier, our black type system is a complete debacle. It's just embarrassing. The black type harness racing system. It should be scrapped. But the black type Group 1 harness racing still matters. When you look through the sales catalogue, Group 1 still matters. So you go around at an Oaks every time you get a chance, Greg, because you run second or third in them, it matters. That's the one.
It matters.
Greg, it's in there forever. It's in there forever.
Christmas has arrived again. Yes.
But if someone could give me a Christmas present, it would be scrapping our black type system, the one with the times. Of all the things we do badly.
Well, it's overdue. Let's be fair.
Of all the things we do badly, harness racing New Zealand, someone should walk in there with a piece of paper, slam their fist on the thing, tell the breeders to go get stuffed, and fix it. Because the fact that any qualified horse in New Zealand, could effectively go to Ashburton, race in a mile and get black type is one of the stupidest things in world harness racing.
Yep. And I reckon you've mentioned it, I'd say 25 times now.
I'll keep mentioning it, Greg, until... Hey, everybody deserves a Christmas present, Greg.
Mate,
even I deserve one.
Michael wants a Christmas present. Give it to him, please.
I've got a couple last week at Karaka, but I'd like this one to happen because it is just... No one's ever explained to me.
Well, they can't explain it, Michael.
Doesn't matter. I don't want to talk about any more simplicity.
Okay, enough. Okay. We're going to take a break because Michael needs one. Here's a Son of Lazarus getting the first win in New Zealand. Wow, what a performance this was by Ask Me Lazarus. Really good day for Wilson House as well. I think it was his first driving treble, and this horse won pretty nicely in the end. Great to see a son of the mighty Lazarus getting it done and doing it in very good style, and well done to Wilson too. He's a driver on the rise. Welcome back into your box seat. Yes, brought to you by a stable of sponsors, one of which is Garrard's. Let's go across the ditch. We've got a fair bit to get into here, and this horse is coming our way. Not as promised. Taking out the Breeders' Crown, that's him in front in the hands of Nathan Dawson. By betting line, so interesting breeding for the star trotter, but let's hear more about it from Team Dwyer, headed up by the father and son combination of Graham.
Not as promised wins. The Locomotive second. What's up? Party Time third, and fourth. Check the anvil.
Wow, what a few months with this horse. You could never have imagined this was going to occur, could you?
No, he turned up, looked like a foal on these 4 big legs, and Yeah, we never thought that at all. And then his first trial, he got beat 60 metres, and it's just been the best ride. And that horse started improving, and he just never looked back.
I didn't hear a lot of cheering tonight until maybe the last 20 or 30 metres, and then I saw you guys celebrate. I know myself from coming down and competing here last year in the Inter-Dominion, there is so much that goes into a trip like this. You must be more relieved than anything else.
Incredibly relieved and incredibly proud because, you know, I had to hand the reins over, so to speak, because I can't be everywhere, and my boys just done the best job with Dennis Greaves, and yeah, it's very, very satisfying.
What about this boy of yours?
Super, super, because, you know, he had to take responsibility. He has had good help as well, but, you know, he was a man doing the job, and that's all what I wanted from him, so he'd grow himself, and he's more than grown. He's, you know, he's pulled it off, you know, and I'm just a part of what he's put forward here for us all tonight, and the owner's just ecstatic, and it's just terrific.
Lane, how has the last few weeks been for you? I know you made a cameo at home for the Young Drivers Championship, but how have you felt? And you must be so proud of this horse. He's going to be special to you for a long time.
Yeah, listen, it's been a very good few weeks, but lot of pressure, and I'm just so glad to get it over and done with, and like we got the job done, which is the main thing. And it's not over yet. New Zealand next week, and hopefully we can do the same there.
So have you got the passport ready, or is Dad going to take over? Surely not. Surely you get the big trip now.
No, he won't be taking over anytime soon, that's for sure. I think he's going better since I started driving him, to be honest, so I might have to take over at home too.
Oh, well, it sounds like you're not going to New Zealand, Graham. And what about that? What an amazing experience that's going to be.
It is, because we know there's good trotters there, but it's not about going over to win, it's going over to compete. And I feel, so we're all from King's Lodge, we call ourselves, and we're competitors. We compete against people all the time, and we love that part about this game. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to go over there and just have a go, and it's what a ride. And you know, I'm going to be holding his hand as much as he doesn't want me to, but yeah, it's just going to be great for me and Lane, and hopefully a good experience for us both.
Enjoy the celebrations, but the job's not done. Enjoy the trip as well. It's going to be quite amazing. Well done, guys.
No, appreciate it. Thank you, Brittany.
And a big thank you to the Trots Vision team, headed up by Ryan Phelan, providing us with that coverage. Michael, a couple of things to come out of that. He's pretty good, this guy. 8 from 9 since joining the stable from Jess Tubbs, I think it started out with. Secondly, young Lane doesn't lack for any confidence, does he? I spoke to his dad this afternoon and he said, yep, you don't need to tell him that he's got a future in the game. He knows.
Good on him. That's the attitude, Gregory. And good on them for coming over. There's no proof he's not better than our ones. Because the best of our 3-year-old trotters, I think, is Love Me Too. I mean, he won the Northern Derby, and that's the last time we had a serious race. And he was too good for him in the Victoria Derby. So, absolutely come. So I think it's fantastic. At this stage, he'd have to be close to favourite, Greg.
He is favourite.
I'm not sure how
he is favourite. $3.50, Michael. So there you go.
That's about right. Lovely 2 races this week at the park. Interesting to see how he's come back, but I think he's a really good horse.
Yeah, he is.
I don't think there's many other scary horses in this bunch, Greg. There's not many horses who you go, wow, why would you bother coming to take that on?
Well, Gold Bullion's showing glimpses. He's $3.80 second favourite as we have a look at that market. Then you've got High Energy, Confessional, who was a real...
he's a good horse, but he was
a pain for Cup Week
bugger
for a lot of people.
I was going to say something worse then. But anyway, look, it's an interesting derby and great to have them here.
Yeah.
As we saw with Swayze, the more Australians, the better for our carnivals and race bike.
And Nathan Dawson's coming.
All these things heading
forward. Now, he's a really good driver. I think he's honing in on 400 wins for the season.
I was talking to Grant Dixon about him yesterday. Grant Dixon, who trains Leap to Fame. And Grant's a smart guy. He said, as good a driver as I've ever seen.
Wow.
It's a big call. Hey, might be some recency bias in there and some Queensland bias, but Grant's no idiot. He doesn't say stupid things.
No.
So he said he prepares really well. He gets to the races early. He's a proper lad who does a proper job. Looking forward to having him here. He's going to be busy though. They race Saturday night for the Inter-Dominion heat. So Inter's got Friday, Tuesday, Saturday. And he has to get to Christchurch by Sunday lunchtime. Good luck.
That won't be easy. All right, we'll continue our look at those Breeders' Crown from Saturday night. Get you to take us through these, Michael. Here's Timmy Richter, one of 4 Breeders' Crown successes. 4. Of course, Emma Stewart, who dominated again.
Look, he's a nice horse. I don't think he's any particular star, and I think the Breeders' Crown's got a bit that way now. There's a couple of interstate horses go, and then plenty don't go. And obviously virtually no New Zealanders go, Greg. So Emma and Clayton just dominated. They're great trainers. They do such a wonderful job. And particularly you find their front of the field horses are very hard to beat. Here's another one of them, Very Pretty. Now, this is a slightly different case because Very Pretty, who is unbeaten, has a very good New South Wales horse in second place there called Luxa Turner. But Luxa Turner's had a really, really busy season and Very Pretty hasn't. But she did win this with a buckled wheel or flat tyre. So some really good fillies coming out of that. And if you think, well, do these horses go on with it? Well, Encipher did. So this horse will go on with it too, Greg. Major Delight. This is the 3-year-old girls. Nice, big, strong horse. Went to New South Wales and she got beaten there because Belinda and Luke have a nice, big, strong horse as well. And we've got one over here is probably better than both of them, and Milwood Nike. But yeah, she's a proper horse, bred to be a proper horse by betters out of a really good mare. So, yeah, again, another one for Emma and Clayton. And again, Greg, once they get on the front end of the field, they just don't come back to you very often. So, I wasn't disappointed by Breeders' Crown. I thought it was really good. I just wish there was more competition from other states, Greg. And that's no one's fault because it comes so close to the Breeders' Challenge and so many other races, and it's too close to our carnivals here. I'm not sure we've got the whole calendar right. That's not picking on HRV. I'm not sure we've got the whole calendar right, Greg, to see the best examples of what these races, not just that, even our own Grand Prix, I don't know.
Yeah.
But too many horses miss too many big races for me. And you see with Luxa Turner, if you try to go to them, eventually
you're going to run out of steam.
You go over the top.
Yep. Joyful finished second in that, of course, owned by the Dalgetties out of Joyful Joy, a former Harness Jewels winner. All right, hi, my name is Jeff, is heading to that Inter Dominion series in front. Cam Hart, basically unbeaten since joining the Grimson camp, 6 out of 7 for this horse. And, well, if he brings this form to Albion Park, he's going to take some beating, Michael.
Well, he won't, Gregory, because he's not going.
Is he not going?
I'll tell you what happened. They pulled him out. They took him to Melton, and he didn't like it. And they think he's a horse who's a bit funny. He tried to kick Cam out of the sulky on Saturday. And they just want to keep him at Menangle and keep him happy because he seems to like that type of racing. So after taking him to Melton where he didn't show his best, so they were going to take him, you're right, they were going to go, then they decided this week to not go.
Right.
So Jason Grimson's obviously taking Swayze, and he's got a couple of others up there. Better Zipper's going up there, and one whose name doesn't matter.
Jumps out of it, yep.
But anyway, Narano. But yeah, he won't be going.
Yes,
They're going to stay there, and like a lot of Menangle horses, they like that Menangle system. It suits them, and that should have him down to being a mid-148 horse. He's close enough to it already by the time the Miracle Mile comes around, which will make him competitive in that.
All right, he doesn't have to race against this horse, Leap to Fame, who of course set a track record when doing this, Michael. He's come up with a pretty good barrier draw to kick his campaign off with. What he did in this race was he found the front, which meant that maybe there's an opportunity now for him to do it at the absolute highest level, and people can see that he does have intent, and he goes around in heat number 3 of the pacing series, and well, he's got Can't Find a Better Man to go against, Black's a Dance, another of the local stars. He really should be winning his heat anyway. And of the others, obviously Swayze's come up with a beautiful draw as well in his pacing heat.
Yeah, so what you've got is all the biggest names have been spread apart.
Yep.
Rock and Roll Do's got a wide draw. Better Eclipse has got a good draw. It'll be winning more than likely. Leap to Fame will be winning, and so will Swayze. Swayze got barrier 2. So they'll just go around, Greg, and I think they'll split them throughout the heats. We could well see, there's 4 pacing heats. We could see 3 horses win 3 heats each and then end up in the final. So it's going to be a slightly weird series. I'm not sure there's going to be a lot of competitive heat racing. And same as Queen Elida and Just Believe. They'll just completely dominate the trotting heats. And then Olivici ends up against Mufasa Metro on the other one. So here is Just Believe. He came back from Sweden and he went to Bendigo, and he was too good for Queen Elida. And I think he'll probably be too good throughout the series, Greg. But you've been to Albion Park. In fact, you're going back to Albion Park. It might come down to barrier draws for the final, but flat out Just Believe at the moment just seems about a length better than Queen Elida.
Yep.
So they'll just win all their heats, I would think, with Olivici and Mufasa Metro, the other horses who are in the mix. but they've had plenty of chances to beat these horses in big races and haven't, Greg. So it's Friday night, Tuesday night, Saturday night, then Saturday final, and you'll be over there, of course, for finals week, and Matt Cross and I will just completely run amok on the box set when you're gone.
Yeah, I'd love to say I'm looking forward to that, Michael, but yeah, let's just say I'll be editing that one before it goes to air. Yes, I will be. Race 7 and 8, those feature trotting heats, Queen Elida going around in the 7th, and of course, Just Believe from the inside draw in race 8. That's on Friday night out of Albion Park. Looking forward to that. As we go to our next break, Deny Everything, a horse that's had a heap of problems. Raced by the Loves, trained by Mark Jones, Samantha Rotley in the bike. This was the Tyre General Timaru Summer Cup, and he's back in winning form. Heisenberg going a pretty brave race there in second position, but a great return to the winner's circle, or third as it ended up being, I think, for Deny Everything.
And Deny Everything too good in the Summer Cup.
The Queen of Aussie Trotting is coming back home.
Queen Elida's going to spank them.
TAB has secured star trotting mare Queen Elida for the brand new TAB Trot Slot race.
It's the Queen. Queen Elida takes it out.
Trained by Kiwi Brent Lilly, she'll bring plenty to this exciting new race.
The Queen is in the castle tonight.
Yes, the Queen is back for New Zealand's richest harness meeting, April 12 at Cambridge, the Night of Champions.
It's all on like Donkey Kong.
In your home straight, in your box seat, brought to you by our stable of sponsors. Please support them, as they not only support us, but they support the industry in a rather big way. Good racing, Alexandra Parks, the Franklin meeting. Let's go to the Pacers Cup. This one features a mare heading towards the Queen of Hearts. Her name is Artie's Express. She's outside of Cooter here, Michael. Big run out wide, obviously, from Self Assured, who'll be at Addington next Sunday for the East-West Fencing Summer Cup. But when you get within 3 lengths of the likes of Self Assured and Akuta, even off 35 metres, and this isn't her grand final this time round, but it's a blimmin' good race, Michael. Simply Sam, Magic 4, Don't Stop Me Now, Fernley Cash, Barks back in the north, and All American Lover, her somewhat forgotten stablemate who won the Queen of Hearts last December, also in the race. Good contest, isn't it?
It is, but I think she'll win. I think she's a genuine open class horse, and most of the rest of them aren't just yet. Fernley Cash will be interesting. The tactics will be interesting, but I don't think that grade's been very strong at Alexandra Park this spring. We don't have a lot of depth, so when you take the Old Town Roads and those sort of horses out of it, it's been a muddling grade. I've yet to see the horses competing in that grade in the North, Greg, and look at them and go, okay, you'll be winning a good race like a Franklin Cup, whereas she will. And I think the staggered configuration of the field helps, because it's not like she's got 35 metres and then a whole bunch on the front line. So I think she'll win, unless she does something wrong. And I think she'll win the Queen of Hearts next week.
All right, Thursday night we're talking about, it's on the 15th is the Queen of Hearts. Yep. We're talking about Thursday night. Here's the Trotters. This horse is going well. American Muscle, the mare by Muscle Mass out of the Wallace Hackett team. The man they call Weenie, Tony Cameron doing the steering, got the job done here, beating Regal Girl, who was excellent because had an early gallop. This is the race with Love Me Too in it, Michael. So although American Muscles, the video we're showing you here, all eyes will be on the 3-year-old heading to the Derby next week.
Yeah, I think he'll smash them if he races up to his best form. American Muscle's going to make her way to open class, Greg, but Love Me Too is basically an open class horse now. So I think he'll deal to them. Interesting horse in this race is All Cashed Up. I think he's better than he's showing, Greg, and he seems to be trotting a bit all over the place. He's got me absolutely lost, All Cashed Up. I've got no idea what to make of him. He might win this, or he might run 100 metres last. But I do think Love Me Too is a very, very good horse. Yep. And I think it's going to be a mainstay of our open class trotting for maybe 3 or 4 years to come if Graham and Dylan choose that to be his career path.
All right, look forward to that Thursday night. As we always do, the Methven Green Mile Day. That's on Sunday. It features a horse heading towards the Garrards Derby. His name is Hoka Connor. Here he was winning the last race, beating Franco Sinatra, who goes to Addington on Friday night, a place that he loves racing. But Hoka Connor was excellent here, Michael. Very good run from him. He comes up with barrier 7 in the Methven 4 Square Supermarket Green Mile. Takes on Franco Norton, who's very talented. Franco Marek's got a good barrier draw. One change drops out of an IRT New Zealand Cup. But it's a strange pathway for a horse going to a derby, although, well, it's not really strange because we haven't been doing it this way with a derby in December at Addington for very long.
Interesting race because I think he's just better than them and he probably should win, but it's a tricky race, the Green Mile. A lot of good horses have gone to the Green Mile and got beaten, Greg, because other pretty good horses have got up against the inside and gone around really quickly. So, look, I think he'll win, but it'll be price dependent for me. If they give you more than $2, it maybe becomes a factor. If they give you less than $2, Greg, it may be a watch race. Other one too, I suppose you can multi it through Oscar Bonavina because it just won't matter what happens to him. After what we saw in the Dominion, unless he's lost a leg in the last couple of weeks.
Perfect segue from you, Michael, because here he is winning the Dominion.
That's why I'm paid the big money, Gregory.
That's
why I'm paid the big
ridiculous money, Michael.
Oh, silly
Oscar
cash.
Bonavina dashing away with the Renwick Farms Dominion. He's a previous winner of the race, as is Time Up the Hill, so looking forward to those two going head to head. But I have to concur with you. I think Oscar might just be a little bit too fast. Mystic Max in there as well. And speaking of unconventional, that should be one P Nens. Change it from PC to PU because he's taking Confessional to the Green Mile on the way to the Derby.
Yeah, why wouldn't he? That's just him. He'll have a dig. His horses love the grass, but yeah, for an Oscar's just going to go around here $1.30, Greg, and unless it rains, that'll be good money. So whatever you're going to do in the Green Mile, pacing punters, just run it through Oscar and get some interest.
Yep, look forward to that on Sunday. All right, we may as well have a look at where you can go harness racing because it's incredibly busy. Invercargill, they race there Wednesday, 3:39 the start time for their 10-race program. Alexandra Park, 5:24 on Thursday. They've actually ended up with 9, so they go at 5:54. So you've got half an hour up your sleeve there for the Franklin Pacers and Trotters. This is this terrific meeting at Addington. They've actually got 9 races too. First of those, 5:23 with all of those features, including the Group 1 What the Hill Trotting Oaks, Akaroa Cup on Saturday. Excuse me, I'm going to have to stop.
You're right there, Greg. Greg, drop me to handle this. Methven races on Sunday, punters. Greg's just over there doing silly stuff. Pacing race and the trotting race shooters soar for $25,000. Greg may not be alive by Sunday, the way things are going. Are you okay there, young fella?
Yeah, I'm okay, mate. Just didn't bring a bit of water. Didn't bring a bit of water in. I should have.
Cutley's got to the bottom of you?
Finally got to me, Michael, yeah. Gee, there's a lot of racing on, isn't there? So much to look forward to, Michael. Into Dominion and clearly across Australia. But when you think about Thursday night, really good Alexandra Park. Addington Friday's terrific. Akaroa Cup Saturday. Methven Green Mile. It's a good time to be involved, even though we've just come off the back of a Cup Carnival.
Tell you one thing I know, not all those favourites will win at Addington. There'll be a lot of short price favourites there. But lead-up races are tricky things, Gregory. It's going to be interesting. This time next week, we'll be having a conversation about which one got beat. I hope it's not Milwood Nike. I want her to keep winning, even though I like Zach and Mantra Blue. But yeah, there's going to be some interesting moves this week because those lead-up races, traditionally, one of the favourites get beat. Your job at home is to try and work out which one it's going to be.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a really informative show, Michael. Thanks so much for your input. Next week, it will basically be a preview of this massive Grand Prix day. 8 Group 1s, a Group 3 Summer Cup on what is going to be an enormous day. Both Michael and I will be doing our homework, trying to provide you with the best information to make a dollar on one of harness racing's biggest days. But from us both, it's bye for now. The Box Seat, brought to you by our stable of sponsors. Harness Link, for all your worldwide harness racing coverage. Brecken Farms, New Zealand Bloodstock Standard Bred. IRT, it's your horse and our passion. Garrard's Horse and Hound. Lincoln Farms. Renwick Farms. Harness Racing New Zealand. The clubs, Auckland, Cambridge, Addington and Ashburton, and the TAB.